was him. He needed them to know it was him. 2. Wednesday, January 16th. The dream returned. Her little boy had come back to her with a smile that melted her heart and made her long for the chance to hold him just once more. They were by the shore, near the Nantasket Motel south of Boston, where they'd spent a week every summer of his life. Just the three of them. The perfect young family. She tried to run to him, but the ground slipped beneath her feet like a great terrestrial treadmill. She called out to him, begged him to come to her, but he just smiled. A foghorn blared in the background. She called to him again, pleading with him to say something, anything, to her. His lips were moving, but the foghorn grew louder, drowning him out. He was slipping away, and she could feel her panic growing. She opened her eyes. The dream was gone, but the foghorn droned on, beating in time to the dull throb in her skull until she reached over and grabbed her phone. She looked at the caller ID, recognized the number, and was instantly awake. "Yeah, it's Steele." She listened for a moment, her heart rate climbing, the blood pumping through her body, clearing away the last of the dream fog as anticipation took root. "Okay, I'll be there." She hung up and looked over at the body next to her, a silhouette draped in a sheet. For a moment it brought to mind all the crime scenes she'd worked over the years. She swung her legs off the bed, pulled on her underwear and jeans, a blouse and a jacket. "Your tip panned out," she said. "I gotta go." "So go," the body replied. She'd hoped he was asleep. It would have been easier. "Thanks for last night. It was nice." "Always is." He didn't turn to face her. Kit Steele opened her mouth to say something, but could think of nothing appropriate. She grabbed her gun and her bag and headed out of the apartment. 3. Vincente crept along the pier, careful with every step to avoid a slip. The fall wouldn't kill him, but the water probably would. Not right away, but within a matter of minutes. Even in the dark, he could see the chunks of ice floating in Boston Harbor, gathering at the edge of the shoreline as though conspiring to take over the waterway, choke it off, force it to grow still. Carpio had heard that it happened once, a few years before, when the ice floats had become so large that ships had to be diverted, that the harbor had to be closed for 2 days as icebreakers were called in. He was the hunted now. Every newscast flashed his picture and pleaded with the public to join the chase, to feed the police information regarding his whereabouts. The skulls tattooed over his entire head captured the imagination like a horror film, and he was regarded as a supernatural predator by all of Boston. It was understandable, given the carnage he'd brought down upon the surrounding area. What none of them understood was that everything up to now had been a prelude. He was growing stronger, and he would continue to take his revenge until he'd killed as many as he could. He was looking for a new area in which to hunt. It was getting more difficult with his growing notoriety. It would be hard for anyone not to recognize him. Images of the dead and blood and bones and carnage covered his entire body. Even his eyeballs had ink in them, 2 crosses flanking both irises. He could keep his hood up, but that wouldn't work to hide his identity for long. He'd now taken to sleeping during the days and hunting at night in the deserted areas of Boston, where his work would attract less attention. The pier ran along the side of the harbor, in what was known as the Seaport District. It was a patchwork of high-end developments at the edge of South Boston, just across Fort Point Channel from the financial district and downtown. 5 years before, it had been a wasteland of warehouses and parking lots, but now it was the hottest growth area in the city. A dozen high-rises were already up, with a mixture of office space and luxury condos nestled around the federal courthouse, which for a decade had been the area's lonely architectural sentinel. 7 more complexes were under construction, and the shoreline was pocked with construction sites. It was a perfect hunting ground. There was enough development to provide prey, but it was still new enough that there were few people who walked the streets at night. He'd had little luck on this night.